Are we on the brink of a local conflict that could spread across the entire region and even the world? Welcome to Beyond the Surface, my channel. Today, we delve into the escalating tensions between Iran and Israel, a situation that has the potential to ignite a far-reaching war. Just recently, Iranian forces seized a container ship linked to an Israeli billionaire near the strategic Strait of Hormuz, an act that has sent shockwaves through international waters. Meanwhile, the night skies have been lit up by rocket fire as a barrage of missiles launched from southern Lebanon towards northern Israel, and the occupied Golan Heights has raised the stakes even higher. Join me as we explore the implications of these events and what they could mean for the Middle East and beyond. Stay tuned as we go beyond the headlines and look at what lies beneath the surface of this critical moment in history. As we speak, tensions are escalating in the Middle East, particularly between Iran and Israel. The situation is a complex web of political maneuvering and military posturing, fueled by recent events that have sharpened the edges of an already fraught relationship. A significant point of tension lies in the indirect talks between the United States and Iran, aiming to restore the 2015 nuclear deal. These talks, held in Doha, Qatar, ended without progress, deepening the divide over Iran's nuclear program. The faltering of these negotiations has the potential to escalate the situation, reminiscent of the summer of 2019, with military options being considered to deter Iran's nuclear capabilities. The location of these talks in Qatar, a Persian Gulf country, highlights a shift in regional dynamics compared to 2015. Most Gulf countries now understand the de-escalatory value of a deal, a stark contrast to the earlier years of tension and conflict. Yet, the specter of war looms large, with the recent fatal Israeli airstrike on an Iranian diplomatic facility in Syria escalating the situation further. This strike, which resulted in the deaths of senior Iranian military officials, marks a significant uptick in the ongoing shadow war between Israel and Iran. The United States denies involvement in the attack, but fears persist that American forces in the region could be targeted in retaliation. In response, Iran has vowed revenge against both Israel and the United States, ratcheting up tensions and creating a climate of uncertainty. The situation remains fluid, with Iran-backed militias historically targeting U.S. forces in response to Israeli actions. The future remains uncertain as Iran contemplates its response and Israel prepares for potential retaliation. As we continue to monitor the situation, we must keep in mind that the cost of war extends far beyond the battlefield, impacting economies, societies, and lives in ways that are often overlooked in the heat of conflict. Economic stability hangs in the balance as the threat of war looms. An escalation of tensions between Iran and Israel could have far-reaching economic implications, not just for the nations directly involved, but for the global economy as a whole. At the heart of these potential impacts is the disruption of oil markets. The Middle East plays a pivotal role in the world's oil supply, with Iran being one of the top oil producers. Conflict in this region could significantly disrupt oil production and distribution, causing a ripple effect across the globe. The result? A surge in oil prices that could reverberate through every sector of the economy. Analysts predict that in the event of war, oil prices could catapult to a staggering $150 per barrel. This would be a blow to economies worldwide, potentially leading to a significant drop in global GDP growth. Closer to home, the United States would not be immune to these effects. An oil price surge of this magnitude could trigger inflation spikes, causing the cost of living to skyrocket and putting a strain on American households. The U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve, designed as a buffer against such disruptions, is currently at a 40-year low. This presents a challenge in managing potential price surges and refilling the reserve. As former U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin emphasized, the need for increased domestic oil production to address national security concerns is now more crucial than ever. The economic stability of nations hangs precariously in the balance, underscoring the far-reaching consequences of war and the urgent need for peaceful resolutions. Behind the geopolitical chess game, the human toll of conflict must be acknowledged. The cost of war is not only measured in economic terms, but also in the loss of human life and the impact on communities. In the Middle East, the human cost of conflict is starkly visible. The friction between Israel and Hamas has already resulted in over 4,100 deaths. Each of these deaths is a tragedy, a life cut short, a family torn apart, a community in mourning. And it's not just about the loss of life. The psychological impact on those who survive is immeasurable. Children grow up in fear, their childhoods overshadowed by violence, their futures uncertain. Families are uprooted from their homes, their lives disrupted, their sense of safety shattered. The human cost also extends to the potential risks to American forces in the region. In the aftermath of the fatal Israeli airstrike on an Iranian diplomatic facility in Syria, tensions have escalated. Iran has vowed revenge, and there are fears that American forces could be targeted in retaliation. The lives of these soldiers, who are far from home serving their country, are also at stake. And let's not forget about the ripple effects of these conflicts. The displacement of people leads to refugee crises, which in turn put pressure on neighboring countries and create instability. The destruction of infrastructure makes it difficult for people to access basic necessities like food, water, and healthcare. Education is disrupted, hindering the development of future generations. Every bullet fired, every bomb dropped, every life lost in these conflicts has a human cost. And this human cost is often overlooked in the discussions about war and peace, about power and politics. But it is a cost that we cannot ignore. The human toll of these conflicts is not just a number. It is a story of pain and loss, of resilience and hope, of a people caught in the crossfire of power struggles. Each life is precious, each life has value, and each life lost is a tragedy. As the shadow war intensifies, the lives at stake continue to multiply. The world watches with bated breath as the situation in the Middle East continues to evolve. The recent escalation in tensions between Iran and Israel is a matter of global concern, and the world's response is a critical part of the unfolding narrative. The United States, a long-standing ally of Israel and a major player in the Middle East, finds itself in a precarious position. Despite its denial of involvement in the recent Israeli airstrike on an Iranian diplomatic facility in Syria, the U.S. is on high alert. The strike, which resulted in the deaths of senior Iranian military officials, has only added fuel to the fire. Iran's vow for revenge leaves the U.S. bracing for potential retaliation, with fears that American forces in the region might find themselves in the crosshairs. This isn't just about the U.S., though. The global community as a whole is deeply invested in the stability of the Middle East. Countries around the world are closely monitoring the situation, assessing the potential risks and impacts on their own national security and economic interests. The United Nations, an organization dedicated to maintaining international peace and security, is also closely involved. It's a delicate balancing act, navigating the complexities of international diplomacy while striving to prevent further escalation and potential conflict. And then there's the ever-present concern about the potential destabilization of the global economy. The Middle East plays a vital role in the global energy market, and any disruption to oil production could have a significant impact on economies worldwide. The international community is also acutely aware of the human cost of conflict, with the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict serving as a stark reminder. The global response must therefore strike a balance between political, economic, and humanitarian considerations. The international community remains on high alert, ready to respond to any potential escalation. As the dynamics in the Middle East continue to shift, the world waits, watches, and hopes for a peaceful resolution. The Middle East is a tapestry of nations, each with its unique role in the unfolding drama. As we delve into the escalating tensions in the Middle East, it's pivotal to consider the part played by other countries in the region. The dynamics have shifted significantly from previous years, with each nation responding differently to the evolving situation. Take, for instance, the Persian Gulf countries. Their role has evolved from being mere spectators to active participants in the diplomatic process. The recent indirect talks between the United States and Iran held in Doha, Qatar, is an evident shift in the regional dynamics compared to the 2015 nuclear deal negotiations. It signifies an understanding among these nations of the de-escalatory value of such a deal. The war in Ukraine has also left an indelible mark on the Middle East, altering the urgency and value of Iran's return to energy markets for the West. This geopolitical factor has cast a long shadow, influencing the strategic decisions of the Middle Eastern countries. Now, let's look at Turkey. Amidst the escalating tensions, Turkey has its own set of challenges. Struggling with a 24-year high inflation rate, driven by the impact of the Ukraine war, soaring commodity prices, and a lira crisis, the country is grappling with its internal turmoil while keeping a close eye on the regional instability. On the other hand, we have the United Arab Emirates, which is focusing on environmental issues, with an aim to reduce plastic bag usage, a seemingly unrelated issue. The UAE is subtly demonstrating that even amidst geopolitical tensions, sustainability cannot be sidelined. These countries, along with others in the Middle East, are not just passive bystanders in the unfolding drama. Each nation, with its unique challenges and priorities, is shaping the narrative in its own way. They are part of a complex web of political, economic, and social factors that are influencing and being influenced by the escalating tension. As the situation develops, each nation must consider its role and the potential impact of its actions. War does not exist in a vacuum. It affects all aspects of society, including social issues. The escalating tension between Iran and Israel reverberates far beyond their borders, influencing the social fabric of the entire Middle East. Let's take a moment to consider the gender-based violence in the Arab world. The brutal killings of 3 women in separate Middle Eastern countries have thrown a harsh spotlight on the region's social shortcomings in protecting women. In times of conflict, such issues often intensify. Existing inequalities are exacerbated, and the safety and rights of women and girls can become even more precarious. This potential war could further strain the social systems meant to protect them, leading to an increase in gender-based violence. But the impact of this tension isn't limited to issues of gender. Consider the economic crisis in Turkey, already grappling with an inflation rate reaching a 24-year high in June, driven by the impact of the Ukraine war, soaring commodity prices, and a lira crisis. Turkey is in a precarious position. War in the region could further destabilize the economy, leading to even higher inflation and greater hardship for the Turkish people. The ripple effects could exacerbate social issues such as unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Moreover, the increasing tensions could lead to a rise in displacement and refugee crises. War invariably leads to people fleeing their homes to seek safety elsewhere, often overwhelming neighboring countries and creating a myriad of social issues, from overcrowded refugee camps to increased pressures on public services in host countries. Additionally, the mental health impacts of war cannot be overlooked. The fear and uncertainty that comes with escalating tensions can lead to increased levels of stress and anxiety, not only for those directly in the line of fire, but also for those living in neighboring countries or with loved ones in the region. As the threat of war looms, it casts a long shadow over the social landscape of the Middle East. The future of the Middle East hangs in the balance as the situation continues to unfold. The escalating tension between Iran and Israel paints a picture of uncertainty, where potential outcomes range from diplomatic resolution to possible conflict. In one scenario, we could see a diplomatic breakthrough. Despite the current hostilities, the possibility of negotiations leading to a peaceful settlement should not be dismissed. The region has a history of shifting alliances and unexpected turnarounds. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that Iran and Israel, driven by the desire to avoid war and its devastating consequences, could find common ground. However, if diplomacy fails and tensions continue to escalate, the Middle East could be pushed into a new cycle of conflict. This could lead to a domino effect, with the instability spreading beyond Iran and Israel, affecting other nations in the region and further afield. In another potential outcome, we could see a continuation of the status quo. That is, a tense but manageable coexistence, marked by sporadic flare-ups and ongoing behind-the-scenes power plays. This scenario, while far from ideal, would at least prevent an all-out war. But these are just potential futures. The reality could be a blend of these scenarios or something entirely different. There are too many variables at play: the internal dynamics within Iran and Israel, the policies of global powers, the role of non-state actors, and the unpredictable nature of international relations. What we do know is that the future of the Middle East will be shaped not only by the actions of Iran and Israel, but also by the response of the international community. It will be influenced by economic pressures, social changes, and the relentless march of technological progress. As the world watches and waits, the future of the Middle East remains a complex and uncertain puzzle. As we come to the end of this video, I hope you've gained a deeper understanding of the complex and volatile situation unfolding between Iran and Israel. The recent incidents, from the seizure of the Israeli-linked ship to the exchange of rocket fire, serve as stark reminders of how quickly tensions can escalate in this region. It's crucial that we stay informed and engaged, as the consequences of a potential war could be far-reaching and devastating. I want to thank you for watching and joining me on this journey to look beyond the surface. Your support means the world to me, and I couldn't do this without you. If you found this video informative and thought-provoking, please hit that like button and leave a comment below with your thoughts and questions. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more in-depth analyses of global events and their potential impact on our lives. Together, we can strive to understand the complexities of our world and work towards a more peaceful future.